Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Sawickipedia. Today we're installing the Pioneer Apple CarPlay and Android Auto head unit into the Mazda 6 MPS or MazdaSpeed 6 for our friends in the US. Now, one of the things about the Australian model is this part here is actually empty. I believe in the US model the MazdaSpeed 6 does actually come with navigation. In Australia we're not so lucky. So we've got to get the old stereo out, so start by pulling out the cup holder. If you give it a good lift in the corner, it should just click out. Put that aside. Then we need to get the gear knob off. Bit of a twist will get that off easy. And then lift out this center console part. Just lift from the back here and it'll pop out. After that, there is a connector at the back for the cigarette lighter. As you can see here, there is also a little another connector for the light, which is back here. So get those two off. A little screwdriver usually comes in handy to get the light out. So it's got two tiny little tabs on either side of the connector. There we go. Put that aside. Now we need to get the center part out. You can start by removing two screws down here, just up in that corner there. And there's another one on the other side in this corner. So undo those. Now there is also a bolt holding the stereo just behind the glove box. So we need to pull the glove box out. Just open up the glove box, push the side in, and push the other side in, and sort of pull it towards you. And there is a little lever on the side, you just need to pop that off, so just push it towards the door. Glove box on the floor there. And as you can see back here, there's a tiny little 10mm bolt that needs to come out. Let's get that out. Try not to drop it. Pain in the ass to find later. Now that those two screws are out and the bolt on the side, you can pretty much pull this whole thing out. Just give it a pull from the bottom. And it should just sort of click out. Before we pull it out too far, I'm just going to put the gear knob back on, just because that thing will scratch the shit out of anything that touches it. At the back here, there's a couple of connectors on the stereo. This one on the left may or may not be in your car. I've actually got a little add-on Bluetooth. That thing will go on eBay, but it works well at the time. It's an easy way to add Bluetooth to your older Mazda. I'll just unplug the aerial and unplug the big chunky stereo connector. They've all got little tabs on the bottom of them. You just have to push in. And then down the bottom here is the little connectors for the air conditioning controls. They've also got little tabs that you've got to push in. They can be a bastard sometimes. There we go, there's one. And there's another one further back. Down there. Which we'll try and get out one-handedly. have to put the camera down. Try not to push the hazard lights. Right, now that that's disconnected, you can put it all aside. And what we need now is the replacement. Center console, which comes with a bunch of other connectors. This thing came off eBay fairly cheaply. It does say that it's designed for a Mazda 6 with manual controls. The upper models obviously have climate control. Alright, now the new replacement does use your original controls for the air conditioner, so you'll need to get them out of the old dash piece. You'll see that there are a few screws around the outside that need to come out, and you also need to take out these little brackets here, so we'll do that. Okay, once you've removed the 4 screws and the 2 little brackets, this part should just pull straight out. There we go. Put the rest aside. Next up, we need to remove the back part of the air conditioning controls, because this grey cover here won't actually fit into the new dash piece. So there's a screw on each corner that needs to be undone, and then there's 2 clips up the top and 3 down the bottom, or 4 down the bottom, that need to be unclipped. So remove the screws first. Alright, now we can remove that part of the cover. And like I said, the reason we do this is because it won't actually fit in the new piece with the cover on. The other thing that was going to get in the way is this tiny little tab with the dot in the top center. So we're going to have to remove that. Alright, so that's removed. Obviously be careful not to cut the actual circuit board, because there are tracks very close to that little tab, so take extra care. The other part we need is these little surrounds. Will also need to be removed from the old dash. It's held in by 2 screws at the bottom here. So undo those. Once they're out, you should just be able to pull it out. There you have it. The thing we'll want from the old dash is this little bit in the middle, which is just like a little cover, because the new piece has nothing, it's just an empty hole. So we'll get that out. It's just held in by a couple of clips at the back. There it is. To take this little piece and just shave the edges down a little bit, because it is too big. We'll do that later. that can be put back in much later on. Let's get these little surrounds in. So they should just tuck back in, and then you'll just need to screw them back down. Again, shoving to get that in, but we are getting there. Now it's time to insert this part. Make sure all those wires are out of the way, of course. That's going to sit in there. You may actually need to remove this little circuit board, which is held in by 4 screws, and then stick that underneath and put the circuit board back. Then put this part in. And then reinstall the circuit board. Fairly lightly. Because it's not a perfect fit, you don't want to bend that circuit board too much, otherwise you will break something. But now that that's out of the way, we'll put these air vents back in. So again, grab the old dash. We're going to have to get these bad boys out. They are just held in by a couple of screws and clips, so pretty easy to take out by the looks of it. There's a screw on each top corner, and then, I'm not sure if the camera can get this, there are 2 screws either side of the middle vent. While we're here, we'll just put the screws back in for the little air conditioning controller as well, before we forget. Bottom 2 screws don't actually seem to be long enough. But everything's pretty solid anyway, so you can probably skip over them. We're getting there. Alright, let's plug some of the connectors in and see how it's all coming along. Obviously the stereo is not in yet, but we can see how the other bits are shaping up. All the connectors are pretty obvious, there's only one place each one will go. It did also come with this massive connector, which looks to be the bit that hooks up to the manual air conditioning, and not this version which has the climate control. But we've got this big plug here which hooks up to where the stereo was, and then the 2 smaller plugs will hook back into where the aircon unit is. Aircon controls are, as good English like. Okay, so no stereo yet, But seeing as everything else is hooked up, let's just have a little test. You'll see that this thing says My Mazda 6 now. That's controlled by the new unit. I should have explained the reason we have to do all this stuffing around is because the Mazda 6 uses the CAN bus for controlling the stereo. Stereo talks to the aircon unit. The aircon unit talks to the little display up the top. So it's not a simple case of just pulling the old stereo out and shoving a new one in. There is a whole bunch of other crap that has to go with it. But it looks like we do have some lights here. Maybe let's just turn the ignition on. That looks to work. If you see the little air circulation, it changes with it. Aircon seems to be able to turn on and off. And I can hear the actual aircon running. Climate control button seems to work. Changing the temperature seems to work. Changing the mode works. Front demister works, that's picking up now. Turning everything off. Manual fan control seems to work. Let's have a look. Ambient temperature seems to work. Clock function. See all the mileage readings and fuel readings. Now this part is programmable. I'll explain later how to do that because I don't actually know at the moment. Let's just start up the engine, just make sure you're in neutral because you probably would have knocked the gear lever around quite a bit. Let's just see if our aircon is actually working. Change the mode to front. That is nice and cool. Turn the aircon off. Give it a second to warm back up again. So yeah, we're back to warm air. Turn it right down. Blast out some cool air. So far everything seems to work. The rear demister light is on, I assume that's working. Obviously hitting aircon makes everything super cold. Hitting auto will make the aircon go nuts because I've got it set to 18 degrees, so it's just going to go off. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. It seems like so far everything is working. So we'll move on to the stereo install, which I am only half looking forward to. Alright, now's the fun part where we wire up the stereo. This is the harness that comes with the Pioneer stereo. So we'll disconnect everything, but as you can see, the new dash comes with color-coded wiring, so it should be pretty straightforward to hook all this up, and I'll document which wires go where again in the comments section. So I won't bore you too much with this stuff. If you've ever wired a stereo before, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. So we'll come back when it's all wired up and we'll be ready to put the stereo in. Okay, welcome back. We have the wiring harness ready to go. As I said, everything's all color coded, so it should all be straightforward. Here's my little wiring blocks. I like these things over, twist and tape. and they're easier than soldering everything together. So I'm going to connect everything back up, plug the stereo in, and see what results we get. Alright, here it is, the Pioneer stereo. Let's plug it in and hope we all don't die. Be a bit tricky now. Plug everything back in, and then plug in the stereo. We'll pop that there, give it some power. Cross fingers. If you've seen the Nissan Cube install, you'll probably be familiar with this screen. It just gives you a choice of which language you'd like. So we'll go ahead, select Australia for this one. Just hit OK again, blah blah blah. That looks like it. I haven't plugged the aerial in, so it's just static at the moment. But so far it looks like those things are working. So the next part we're going to work on is getting the steering wheel controls to work, because at the moment they do nothing. So I'll figure out the wires for that and come back. So we have figured out the steering wheel controller after a bit of Googling online. We found the car side of the wiring harness has a green and white stripe wire and a red and black stripe wire just near the top center where the connector is. So in the middle, on the right hand side is the green with white, and next to it the red with white. The green with white stripe needs to be spliced onto the black steering wheel remote control cable, which looks like a little 3.5mm audio cable. It's basically what it is. That plugs into the back, and the red part of that cable needs to go on the wire with the red and black stripe. So we've got those done. Everything else has been hooked up. Microphones put in place, USB cables being routed through the car. What I end up with now is a fully functioning stereo. The steering wheel controls working. Just need to push the button that we want to program and then push the corresponding button on the steering wheel. Do the rest later. So that's about it. After this we'll stick it all back together, tape up this little mess of wires here, and we'll go to the review. Thanks for watching. If this has helped you out, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Thanks.